We have our newest storm in the Western Pacific. This currently does not have a name, but once it is upgraded to a tropical storm, which is in the forecast, it will be called an anagram for my name, Sepat. I'm meteorologist Robert Sepat. Let's talk about this area, where it's headed as it moves off towards north. It could be impacting central areas of Japan. Also, the potential for another storm system even behind that. This is separate. This is looking ahead to the first here. You can see it on the bottom of the screen. Some of the models really trying to flare up something out there south of Japan and really enhancing the monsoonal inflow for the west coast of the Philippines. So boy, plenty to talk about out of here today. Let's start off with linear, and we'll look ahead through the future, because right now we of course have this area not organized by any means. My goodness. I mean, this thing, it really has a lot of shear, has a bit of convection kind of flaring up on the right side of it. It's forming up within the tut, so you naturally have a bit of shear aloft with it. But just in general, you know, developing north into the Mariana Islands, passing by the Ogasawara Islands, it's going to head off here just like that until it collides with the Mayu Bayou front. That's the rainy season front located just towards its north and west. And you can see here where JMA has it pushing off there like that, and they actually have it becoming a tropical storm over the course of the next 48 hours. So take actually a look at this. This is Invest95W. This is from weathernerds.org. The spaghetti plots, both GFS and the ECMWF expected to make that northwesterly track just skirting the coastal areas of Honshu. This includes places like Nagoya, albeit it should just stay just towards the east of Nagoya. But I think Chiba, our friends in Yokosuka, Zushi, you know, are there around Kanagawa, and of course the Izu Islands, all at least are going to be looking at the potential for tropical storm strength conditions as we look ahead through the mid part of this upcoming week. So let's take a closer look at what we're talking about here. And, you know, you got that broad area of convection that we're talking about with this really trying to develop. You have an upper level low located just towards its north and west, and that really kind of gave that initial spin for this. And one thing it is doing is it's feeding off of the monsoonal flow towards the south here. So as we look ahead, you'll notice how the left side of the storm stays dry and that moisture just kind of pulling into it. And that's important to note and delineate is the left to the right side of the storm, because here you go, Wednesday midday, this is Wednesday 2-3 o'clock, our storm comes on shore right around Nagoya. But if you look, where's the worst of the weather? According to the ECMWF, it's here along the Kii Peninsula. That includes places like Kamakura, also there, maybe even extending out towards the Kanto Plain, you know. So it's I said not Kamakura is not on the Kii Peninsula. Kamakura is on the Kanagawa Peninsula. But y'all understand what I'm talking about there. Basically, that's just kind of kicking off from the south. Worst of the weather right there along our coastal regions. The Sagami Wan, pretty much one of those spots. And then it quickly passes on by Wednesday night. Not a typhoon by any means, my goodness. Just some messy beach weather. Personally, I'd probably head out to the coast and check it out. But that would be me. I do things a little bit different, I suppose. Let's look at the broader picture, though, because, of course, we're watching this as it heads off towards the rainy season front. But we still have that inflow building in behind it, which means look at all these, you know, lows that are trying to develop there just around Guam. And, yeah, we could have a secondary storm system try to develop, and that one very well could kick and move off towards our north here. So let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at our broader view. We're going to go back over towards and compare the ECMWF with the GFS. And this is first the GFS. You can see the time in the bottom of the screen. And as we go ahead through the mid part of the week, GFS wants to try to develop something here. See, look at that. Tries to spin it up right over the Mariana Islands. The ECMWF does too, but a little bit slower to start and kind of gathers it a bit broader, more of a monsoonal gyre. So that's the key difference between the two. GFS wants to tighten this up over these warm sea surface temperatures. The ECMWF, which has been handling these type of setups a little bit better, wants us to be remaining a lot bigger, meaning a lot more rainfall, but you don't get a Cat 3, Cat 4 type of setup with that. You more or less talk about tropical storms. In either case, you know, could be some messy weather for the Mariana Islands to wrap up the month. The GFS pulling this off towards the north, and eventually similar paths as the last one, kicking off and coming on shore right around the Tokyo area. the Izu Islands and all of our friends there along the coast of the Sagami One. That includes military, like, well, of course, they're in Yokosuka or Yokota, just a little bit further towards the northwest, and Atsugi. All could be looking at some impacts here if for my American friends watching. But if we pull back the picture, you see the GFS actually now on board, as well as the ECMWF, of a secondary storm trying to develop while this is all going on. And all the while, you're getting just this big river of moisture. So, of course, in this scenario, we see a storm develop. We see it come off towards the north, impact the southern coast of Japan. And then we also see the inflow coming in behind us, creating heavy flooding rains across a good portion of the Philippines. We can even take a look. Let's look at the rainfall accumulation. And what we're going to do is go from let's look from the 29th to the 4th or the 5th. That's the ECMWF. This is the GFS, both indicating a river of moisture setting up in both scenarios. It just depends on exactly where it is. So the point is, I think Manila by the 3rd, 4th, 5th, so next weekend, could be looking at some pretty decent flooding here once again due to the inflow developing around that river of moisture with our secondary storm system. So remember, there's two storms going on here. We have the initial one, which is our tropical depression, likely going to be called Sepat. Then we have another one behind that. Let's actually just double check the name for that. Moon. There you go. So Sepat Moon would be forming up. Both of these would be outside of the Philippine area of responsibility, so you wouldn't be getting a Pagasa name on either of them. But yeah, a lot to talk about today. So remember, two storm systems. We have the first one that's going to kick on through, likely as we go ahead through our midweek. So Wednesday into Thursday across coastal areas. I think Wednesday afternoon for Tokyo. And then we're going to start to see, by the end of the month, a new storm develop around the Mariana Islands and kick off towards the north. For our storm-chasing friends, I would be thinking about already getting on the plane and heading out to the Kii Peninsula or the Izu Peninsula or somewhere, probably flying into Nagoya or Tokyo and waiting for it. So if you're in any of those areas, especially here around the Izu Islands, if you got maybe some trips, I know that people like to take vacation during July out to the Niijima, Kuzushima, Oshima. That's all these islands right here located just towards the south of Tokyo. Could be some bad weather with it. So I would highly suggest to stay informed and stay posted about what's going on here. And of course, you can do that by continuing to follow me here at Western Pacific Weather. That's an old graphic at Western Pacific Weather. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want more information too, check out our Patreon. The link is down below. As always, thanks for watching. And of course, number one thing, stay safe out there, friends.